is there anything that any of you disagree with me on? Maybe you've seen something that, clip from the show. I think that's a really good place to start. So anybody, anything?
Yeah, but I feel like it's a lot, to be honest. So I don't really know
a
where
lot
to
that
start.
you disagree with?
Yeah, I feel like pretty much we're on the opposite ends.
Okay.
Just ops.
Yeah. Are we opping each other?
Well, we're having a conversation, but why don't?
Yeah, I don't know where to start, but it would probably basically be anything if I had to just guess.
Yeah, but I'm gonna need you to be a little more precise.
You talk a lot of politics on the show. You're more conservative.
Am I
would say, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty conservative, I would say.
I feel like I'm pretty vague when it comes to my politics, and I typically don't get super political, but.
I mean.
I'm very conservative, if you would like to.
But
if you want to take the lead.
Oh no, I mean, I'll.
Yeah.
I'd say I'm moderate to conservative. Ish.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you you know what I mean, because it's my opinion and you're.
No, I don't.
Whatever.
So okay, what do you disagree with me on?
Everything. I would say I'm probably the most left-leaning here. I'm more socialist, communist.
That's a good place to start. Okay.
Right there.
So you're a socialist / communist.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think what's the tenet of communism? You don't believe that?
Do you believe in private property?
Yeah. Do you believe in? That's what else.
See, it's really hard to navigate these kinds of conversations, but it's basically you can look at how we kind of are America right now and how we are economically. Most Americans are living under the poverty line, you know what I mean? And even people who are getting $100,000 salary, $200,000, they're living paycheck to paycheck. And I just think everybody livable wages should be happening, you know what I mean?
Can
Cost
you
of living shouldn't be so high.
point me to an example where communism or socialism provided a better quality of life than the life in America?
I think Cuba was really promising up until the US started putting
Do you realize how much of a shithole Cuba is?
That's because of the United States.
So you don't think it's the fact that the government went and nationalized everything and they put Che Guevara in as the head of economics in Cuba, somebody who had never done that before? They nationalized the industries. You don't think that a bunch of guerrilla warfare fighters coming into Havana and taking over the country?
I think Cuba had a promising chance up until the United States started putting restrictions on Cuba, and that's part of the reason why Cuba is so poor now.
But do you not think?
Trading
do you not think that it was there was a part of it that might have been the socialist factor, the fact that they nationalized everything and didn't know what they were doing?
I mean, I can agree with you to the point that it hasn't been as effective as it could have been played out, in any case. So it hasn't successfully
Okay, so Cuba's not a good example. Do you have another good example of another country that has done a good job with socialism, communism?
No.
Do you know it's been tried many times? Soviet Union did it, no good. China did it, Vietnam did it, Laos did it, Cambodia did it.
Okay, but capitalism isn't doing great either.
Capitalism's doing a lot better than communism, a lot better. And if you look at the rise in the third world at the moment, that's all because of free markets, and it's all because of cheap energy and all of these things that capitalism provides.
Thanks, Killian. Wait, would you like to see the U.S. become a communist country?
I think there needs to be kind of how communism is laid out. I still think there's flaws within that, right? I'm not trying to say it's the perfect solution. I just think on a baseline, it would be more effective. Most people would have a better quality of life.
Would there... Here, we'll let
Brandon Lee donated $100.
Oh.
Another vapid 304 selling her flesh, while whining about capitalism. Do you not realize what you are doing is capitalism?
Do you have a response to Brandon Lee here?
Yeah, so I live in a capitalist country. Why would I not do what I can to have the best quality of life I could? Just because I believe in something doesn't mean that I should struggle or be poverty-stricken.
I think there is actually a good counter-argument to this. Maybe, Jake, you're familiar with it. This whole because I think it's really important that your side, whatever side, puts forth really solid arguments. And I think the counter to that is, typically people, when it comes to communism, they'll argue, well, you have an iPhone. But I don't think that's a very compelling argument, because people are going to, if they're born into society, they're going to have to maneuver through that society with the rules that have been placed. So there's
having an iPhone in the eyes of a communist, that having an iPhone is a bad thing?
No, it's more so just, and I'm not in favor of communism, but I'm just trying to steelman the capitalist position. I'm not sure if the best argument is, well, you engage in capitalism, so why are you in favor of communism?
Oh yeah,
I can't think of the steel man for it, but Brandon Lee, I appreciate it.
Because Brandon kind of said that she's engaging in capitalism. Well, you do live in a capitalist society.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying there's no problems with capitalism, but by far and away, it's the best system we've ever tried. And you just have to look at the evidence. And you can literally, I went to Korea last year, and I went to South Korea, and I went to the demilitarized zone, which is on the border of North Korea, and it is night and day between those two countries, because one of them embraced the Soviet-style communist system or socialist system, and one of them embraced a Western-style capitalist system. You go to Cambodia and you look at what happens when the Khmer Rouge came and took over. Absolute brutality. And that's because equality has to be forced, because human beings are inherently different.
Before you respond, we're not going to linger too long. We're not going to linger too
Grid1
long on this
Motorsports
topic.
donated $100. Tell me you know jack crap about economics in plain language. Check. In the little box on your tax return where it asks how much extra you want to pay, how much do you write in? Bet it is 0.
What?
In the little box on your tax return,
Yeah.
when it asks how much extra you want to pay.
But I think essentially what you're saying is that there's economic disparity in America, and you're saying that it's unfair.
Yeah.
It is unfair, but life's unfair. And
I
we
mean, I
can
don't think that's
do better, certainly, but I'm telling you, and I can explain it to you more if you'd like throughout the podcast, communism, not the answer. There are answers, communism, not it.
I have
I
a
think
question.
it's-
Could I ask you a question about
Yeah.
it? Just to get more of a sense of what you believe. You said that you can't really like tell us exactly what country has socialism that you can point to and say that's a positive. If there was one, would you move there and then give up the work that you do because you wouldn't be able to do it under that? governmental
Yeah,
structure?
like I would give up my work to have like on a baseline be around a community where there's a higher quality of life than America.
But didn't you say that you can't point to a country that has that? So where would you go?
No, I'm saying like communism and socialism is kind of the closest thing to what I believe in. I haven't seen it played out, and it's not exactly that, but it would be the closest thing to kind of put language into it.
So how can you believe that something is great if you've never seen it be great?
I never said it was great. I said it's like what I believe to be the best system.
Have you seen
So
it
it's the
be
best,
great?
not great.
Has communism ever worked?
No.
And this is what
I
I'm
don't think
saying.
so.
Like it's the closest thing to what I believe in.
But I
So
think
it
that
would
when
be
you just look at it on
closest
the
solution.
raw facts, though, communism was responsible for the death of north of 100 million people in the 20th century. So when you look at that ideology and you say, you know what, I think we should try it again, you'd have your detractors. Okay, but I do get what you're saying, because
I
you,
also think
you
part of it
believe
is
in
that-
inequality, and you think that and you've arrived at this. Do you go to university or college?
I dropped out.
Okay.
before-
Did you hear a little bit of this sort of rhetoric / propaganda at university? Is that where you pick these ideas up? Yeah.
Yeah, but I also think it's really tricky because I mean we're all like we have like a capitalist scope on things, so it's the way we're viewing communism is also through like how we've been socialized and how our
You can
brains
go
are
to
kind of,
communist
like-
countries, see how it is. I've
I mean,
been to
yeah,
many
but I
of them.
haven't had the opportunity yet. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm still very like young. And
I
there's a lot of
understand,
things
because
that
when
are,
I
like-
was your age, I actually used to think similarly. I used to be like a Bernie Sanders bro, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. You know, I used to love it. I used to think so everyone can just be equal and it'll be the best. But then after a while, when you look into it and you realize that actually it's manufactured equality, and when you try and manufacture equality, it leads to brutality. But you know, keep going, you'll get there.